Welcome! I'm really glad you've joined me. If you are preparing for CIMA Management Case Study exam this May or August 25 and working with Trimyar pre-scene, you're in the right place. I know that this exam can feel somehow overwhelming. You've got a big pre-scene document to understand and need to revise theory from 3 papers and then somehow turn everything into a confident written responses in a timed setting. But don't worry, in this video, I'll give you a structured, focused plan on how to prepare effectively. We'll begin with a quick overview of the exam, the format, your role as a finance manager, and what kind of skills the examiner is actually looking for. Then, my tutor will introduce you to Trimyar, our case study company, and walk you through the essentials, meaning who they are, what they do, and how they fit into the whole market. And after that, we'll move to the hair and beauty industry. You'll see an actual sample from the course. My tutor will explain key features of the industry, introduce the main challenges that Trimyar might be facing. We won't go into the details of everything, of course, but you'll have the clear idea of the style and the value of our full resources. Then we'll look at the selected syllabus-based issues, again using clips from the actual course. These are delivered by our experienced specialist tutors who really understand how to approach case study exams. So we'll cover from P2, transfer pricing and managing risk and uncertainty. Then from E2, we'll cover team dynamics and effective negotiation. And from F2, we'll cover long-term funding decisions and EPS. And finally, I'll show you what your next steps could be, including how we can support you with structured materials, mock exams, marking, and even personal tutoring sessions, depending on how much help you need. So if you're ready to start preparing with clarity and confidence, let's get you into it.
In this video, we're going to have a look at the CIMA case study exams, exactly what they are and what's expected of you in these exams. Case study exams are very different from the OT exams that you sit at each level. CIMA conducted some research before they last revised their syllabus, and it came through very strongly from employers that what they wanted from their accountants were 2 things. They wanted them to be technically strong, and that is what the OT exams are designed to test, but they also wanted accountants to be able to function well in the workplace, which is more than just being technically strong. It's their ability to communicate, to recognise and appreciate issues and come up with practical, work-based, commercially astute advice. And this is what the case study is trying to replicate. It's a work-based simulation. So it is not in any way trying to retest the OT exams that you've passed already. It's about putting you in context and seeing if you can function at an appropriate level in the organisation. The management case study is a role play where you are playing a finance manager. So you are elevated up a level from the operational case study. The people you're likely to be writing to in the management case study will include senior people like the chief financial officer or finance director, senior business managers, and potentially non-financial senior business managers at that. Common sort of simulations that you could expect to see in this management case study would be collaboration between different functions across different departments to make decisions concerning investments, product development and pricing. The operational case, you may recall, focused on short-term decision making. We're now moving into medium-term decisions when it comes to the management case. And once again here we're using technology to translate long-term strategies that the board have decided upon, translating those into medium-term tactical goals. The involvement of the production of consolidated financial statements could also be examined. For example, financial reporting standards and how they apply in a certain situation could come up in the exam. And once again, ethics will play a part. Maybe the ethics associated with some of the medium-term decisions that are being made. So, in a little bit more detail then. So you will be playing the role of a finance manager now, with responsibility for monitoring and implementing strategy, focusing on the medium term. So you'll start off with a long-term strategy. That's already been decided in the management case. Just so you know what's coming, you'll be involved in deciding on that long-term strategy when it comes to the strategic case later on. But for our purposes here, that long-term strategy has been decided at the board level, and we are translating those long-term goals into steps along the way. So medium-term tactical goals, using technology to give us information to help us evaluate business opportunities and implement cyber technologies to help improve business processes and create value in the organisation. So with this paper, as with every other paper in the qualification, technology and the information and use of that information with big data and data analytics is very much at the heart of everything that we do. So you will need to collaborate with people from both within finance and other disciplines. And collaborating with people from other disciplines gives us an important point here, that when we're writing to people who are not finance professionals, we need to be mindful of the fact that they aren't aware of a lot of the concepts that we talk about. So you have to be prepared to explain what you mean in terms that they're going to be able to understand. And the kinds of decisions you might be making would include investments in projects, developing new products, pricing products. All these kinds of things involve input from people from all over the business. The responsibilities would require a sound understanding of the business environment. Now, as you graduate up through the CIMA qualification, increasingly you are being positioned as an internal business partner and a business advisor. So increasingly, the case studies are testing your commercial abilities, your professional abilities, your business acumen, and so on. And at this level, we're looking at understanding the context that the business is in and thinking about how that context affects what's required in the business. It could involve considerations of a digital ecosystem, so how we relate to our business environment and ecosystem using digital technology. The manager here, that's you, is required to measure and report on the performance of individuals and divisions in that particular context. You will be asked to give an opinion on things like business risks. So you might be asked, how serious is this? And you need to, one of the good things about that is that there are various right answers there. But what you need to be able to do is reply convincingly. So you need to explain your logic behind your thoughts. The finance manager will also be involved in the accounting decisions that affect the preparation and content of consolidated financial statements. So group accounts comes in at this level. It will also involve the exercise of professional judgment. Recommendations and decisions can have significant impact on both internal and external decision makers. If you're advising on medium-term decisions like investments in new products, then that can have a significant impact on the performance of the business. Strong communication skills are required. And remember, the case study is trying to test your ability to operate in the real workplace. So the words you use, the logic of your argument, all those things are very important now. The need to inform key decisions may raise significant ethical dilemmas. Ethics comes in every single case study, whether it's, should we be investing in this product, or maybe this will damage our reputation. It's those kinds of issues as far as the business is concerned, but there is often also personal and professional ethics being examined here. So in other words, you may well need to apply the CIMA ethical framework. Now, there are 5 core activities being assessed in the management case study. You need to evaluate opportunities to add value. So that can involve things like investment appraisal of capital projects. Implement senior management decisions. So take those long-term plans and translate them into medium-term plans. Manage performance and costs to aid value creation. you'll notice that D is measure performance. So C and D together is understanding what performance is and then what we need to do to improve it. So there's a commercial angle when you combine those two together, and then thinking about things from a range of different stakeholder needs. So it's not just about shareholders. We may need to think about customers, suppliers, employees, any stakeholders in the organisation could need to be considered. The good news is, though, when you pass the management case study, you are awarded the advanced diploma in management accounting. So next step up from the operational level. Now, the management case study, you'll be given some pre-scene that's released a few weeks before the real exam, and that will give you background on a particular industry. Now, the idea is you can expect somewhere between 20 and 30 pages there. It will tell you about a particular industry and a particular company within that industry. There will be articles, reports, emails, extracts of financial statements, all kinds of things to get everyone up to the same starting point as they walk into the real exam. Be careful with this pre-scene. It's important to analyse it. It's important to think, what is this telling me? But what you shouldn't do is spend your entire preparation period before the exam analysing that pre-scene to death and sort of finding out every single possible thing you can about that industry in the real world. Because at the end of the day, you're not expected to be an absolute industry expert in that particular industry. But the purpose of the pre-scene is to give you the industry information you need to set you up for the real exam. Now, most of the tasks that are given to you in the exam actually reflect some new information that's given to you on the day. And pre-scene is very much about the background. Now, yes, you need to understand that pre-scene, and for example, you might need to do some analysis on some of the financial statements that are within it from a point of view of understanding some of the messages within those financial statements, but you don't need to go overboard. We'll talk about this more later on, but the main thrust of your preparation time should be spent practicing questions based on the real pre-scene, but we'll come back to that later on. The management case is split into 4 45-minute sections. Each one is equally weighted score-wise, and each section will have several subtasks within it. So you'll be given some new information, sometimes known as unseen or trigger information, on the day, and then within that information you'll be asked to do several things. Each subtask can examine more than one syllabus area, and they quite often bridge even different papers. So there could be an element of E and an element of P within a subtask, for example. Now, this next step is important. You can think of this exam as being 4 45-minute exams, because if you finish one section early, you can go on to the next section early, but you cannot bank that time. So if you finish the first section 5 minutes early, all that means is you're going to finish the exam 5 minutes early. So the key message here is there's no point in finishing a section early. If you've got a bit of spare time at the end, use that time to polish up, even if it's just making it look better on the screen, but no point in moving on early at all. You will be asked to reply in a variety of formats, and this reflects the fact that this is a work-based simulation. So it could be, for example, emails, memos, reports, briefing notes. It's useful to know the basic formats of these things. So, for example, with a report, we want to, from, subject, date, brief introduction, main body of the report, and then a conclusion and sign-off at the end. But what's very important to note here is the tone of your answers. So if you're writing a memo or an email, they are often internally focused, so won't be as formal as a report, for example. And that is your ability to communicate appropriately in the right format is also being tested here, because that's part of your ability to function well in the real world. You're given some word processor type software to use. Practice using that software on the CIMA website. It is a word processor, but it's restricted in terms of its functionality compared to some other word processors you might be used to using. So I would suggest when you are practicing questions, do it as much as you can in the real exam software, and that's available for you to have a play with on the CIMA website. There aren't any detailed calculations in this exam. The detailed calculations are tested as part of the OTs, so you're not likely to be hammering away on your calculator in this exam. It's not to say you won't be working with numbers, but it's more likely that you'll be given some numbers that you need to talk about. So you might be given, for example, an investment appraisal that someone else has prepared. You need to interpret it maybe, talk about the assumptions that have gone into it, talk about the implications and maybe some of the non-financial considerations behind the investment proposal. It's all about interpretation. You will be given tables as standard, so present value, cumulative present value, and normal distribution tables are given to you, but it's very, very rare that in the real exam you will actually need to use them.
So now let's focus on Trimyar itself. So we'll focus on the operations of the company. So basically Trimyar was started by Magda Trimyar. So it was an individual hairdresser who started her first salon in 1974. She was an apprentice hairdresser, then she starts her own salon. And you can see she was capable. She was a capable business person. She won the attention of many newspapers, magazines, and she was able to reach the upmarket salons in Dazzling's major cities. So then in 1986, she opened her first mid-market salon under the Trimyar Pop brand name. And then in 2003 is when things started to change. Now Magda has been in the business for a long time, but now she lists herself in the stock market. So it becomes a bigger business now, a company, and she retires from the business. Now once she retires, her shares are sold and she no longer takes an active part or an interest in the business. Now that's the first part of Trimyar's operations. So you can see Trimyar really started with the high end, because you notice she did innovative new styles for celebrities. So she was in the up end of the market. So that's where we come to what we spoke in the industry analysis. Given that we are known for the up end, should we have our own salons in the up end market and just outsource the mid market to franchises? So moving from there, now we come to 2005. Now after obviously listing the company in the Dazzling Stock Exchange, the company is now seeing new avenues of growth. So one is salons begin to become franchised operations. So they start shifting their attention from owning salons and operating all their salons to now selling them off and offering them to franchisees. So eventually, the company disposed of most of its salons and transferred it to franchisees in return for a fee. So as of now, therefore, the company owns only 40 Trimyar Pop salons of its own, 380 franchise Trimyar Pop salons, and 140 Trimyar Sheen salons. So this is the high-end salons. So majority, therefore, is all franchised. Then we're also given a very important piece of information that Trimyar's policy has been to lease salon premises. So we don't own. Now, this is questionable. Is this risky? Is this also a financially viable option? For an example, if you think of interior designs of the salon and losing a lease, it's unnecessary expense of having to move the salon locations because your lease might not be extended. So another thing, should Trimyar change its policy? Should it become open to having the franchisors having their own salon premises? Then we come to the salon operations. So we establish how Trimyar is what it is today and its basic policies. But if you look at the salon operations itself, so we know majority of it is franchise. So each franchise salon has a principal. Now the principal is basically the owner of this business. So the principal takes accountability for each Trimyar salon he or she runs. And the principal might run more than one Trimyar salon. So therefore, any customer complaints will be addressed by the principal. And also, the principal will have a point of sale service and have daily reports regarding operations in the salon, which will be sent to the head office so that it can be evaluated how each franchise salon outlet is doing. If we stop here for a moment, what I want you to understand is this gives us important information on how important it is that salons are managed well and the principal, the owner, takes accountability. Second, it's very important that correct and accurate information, correct and accurate KPIs go to the head office. So the KPIs are the average time a customer spends at a salon, number of new customers, so that also gives information on how the franchise outlet is doing, existing customer retention, waiting time, service type, staff turnover. Very important to see how employees are happy within working happy to work in that salon or not, and the revenue per square meter. So all this information is recorded and actually sent to the head office on a daily basis. And then the company uses this information. It has a business intelligence system to gather the information from all the different franchise salons, ranks them for their KPIs, evaluates them, and collects data to give feedback on performance to each principal at the end of the month based on their salon performance. So therefore, if a principal has more than one salon he or she is running the franchise on, they will have multiple reports because each salon will have a report. So therefore, you can see that both the company as a whole, that's Trimyar as a whole, and the principal will have a keen interest on customer satisfaction and sales because it will affect not just the principal, but whatever that happens in each salon will affect the company as a whole. So you can also see from this that Trimyar is using latest technology. For an example, we have business intelligence systems. We are automating so that information goes directly to the head office. So there is technology is being used well. There is monitoring of the franchises. Performance monitoring is happening. However, this also highlights the risk that there can be customer dissatisfaction if some of these KPIs are either low or not adequate. Next, the franchise agreements are for every 5 years, and after 5 years it's renewed, and it's obvious it will be renewed at the discretion of both Trimyar and the principal. So Trimyar will of course look at how well the salon has been doing, how has it been maintaining quality, outcome, and of course the principal will also see if he or she wants to continue operating the salon under the name of Trimyar. So it's, in a sense, I would call it's a partnership between the franchisor and the franchisee. So a partnership between Trimyar and each franchisee. So then we can move on to Trimyar's head office operations. Welcome to the industry analysis video for your latest MCS case study, which is based on the hypothetical company Trimyar. Now, what is Trimyar in, or which industry is it in? It's in the hair dressing industry. And one of the ultimate goals is to assist you to use this information when you are presenting your answers. So the key facts, information, you can include this where appropriate in your case study answers. It will give you a good understanding of where the industry is heading, and therefore you'll be in a better position to improve the quality of your answers. Let's jump into the industry overview. So if you look at the industry and if you compare it in terms of Dazzlen, the industry it's safe to say that the industry is extensive. It's a big market presence with a wide array of service providers. So the industry seems like it's well developed in Dazzlen. And also, while specific growth rates are not given in your pre-scene, it is clear and it is quite safe to say that the industry will continue to grow. Demand will continue to rise. So steady demand is something we can expect within the industry, because generally when the economy is doing all right, services from the hairdressing industry is considered essential in nature. What is the composition of the industry? The industry is quite fragmented in nature. So when we say fragmented, what we mean is it's dominated by small players, or we can use the word independent salons. Over 80% independent salons having fewer than 10 staff members. So that means there's a lot of salons and all of them contribute to the market supply and overall salon companies. So it's not just a few big companies or franchisors like Trimyar, but there is a lot of independent players. So the industry is quite fragmented rather than concentrated in nature. Now, if you look at general information in the market, real world information, you can see that in the real world, they're expecting the salon industry to rise in demand by a compound annual growth rate of around 7.79, so it's around 8%. So over a 7-year period, that's from 2025 to 2032, expected, it's supposed to rise by a compound annual growth rate of around, I would say, 8%. Now, this is quite optimistic. That means every year they will see their demand increase. So, as a company in the industry, Trimyar can benefit, or Trimyar should position itself to benefit from this increased demand. Position itself to benefit from increased demand within the industry. So that's the basic overview. So you have a little graph here highlighting some of the factors we spoke about, just so that you can have a look at. Further, if you look at segmentation of the industry is segmented into three based on the market demand. One is upmarket salons. So this is characterized by affluent customers, premium services, premium prices, personalized services. So it touches on the element of luxury and exclusivity. Then we come to mid-market salons. Now this is a balance between quality and affordability. It caters to the wide or broad customer base, and you're talking about quality and affordability balanced. So it's all about here reasonable prices. Then we come to the third segment, which is down market salons. Now this is focusing on cost-conscious consumers, basic services, so they don't have any luxurious premium services, and it's more on the aspect of essential hair care, essential hair care. So that's the segmentation of the industry. So we know, if you have gone through your pre-scene, that we operate within the first two segments. We are in the upmarket and the mid-market. So if you look at Trimyar, so we don't operate in the down market. If you look at customer behavior within the industry, it's important to understand that customer loyalty is a characteristic of customers or clients within the industry. They like to go to a salon they know and they trust. So therefore, repeat customers, repeat business is popular. This gives you vital information to say that we need to invest on retention. We need to invest on our customers, our clients, to keep them loyal to us. So therefore, quality of the service is very important. Keeping them happy, keep customers happy. So how do we serve them? Do we offer them complimentary beverages, complimentary services when they come to our salon? Do we have a loyalty scheme? All that comes into play. Then if you look at demand, tends to be quite regular whenever a customer needs a haircut. Further, if they have certain things done to their hair, such as they dyed, they perm it, they straighten it, again, they're going to regularly then demand the services of salons. So demand tends to be quite steady, quite regular. I would characterize it as regular and steady demand. Then, as an industry overview, we'll quickly touch on some of the trends. I'm not going to go into detail because we will be covering this in a few minutes under the market and technological trends. But the trends of the industry are, number one, innovation and technology. So innovation in terms of what you're offered and in terms of the products sold in the salons. So it's expected that customers will get superior hair care products at salons. Then when it comes to technology, online booking systems, convenience, service efficiency are trends within the industry. Next, there is a growing emphasis on sustainability. So eco-friendly products, less chemicals used, products that follow eco-friendly practices are also growing in demand as customers are becoming more environmentally conscious. Next, franchising growth. So we know we are already in the franchising model, but it's becoming a popular strategy for expansion. So instead of expanding on our own, we use the franchising model to expand, another trend within the industry. So overall, the industry is characterized by diversity. There is diverse players in the industry, and therefore it will be a competitive industry. But brand identity, commitment to innovation, customer satisfaction is what will keep us on the track to go ahead in the industry which has a positive future outlook. So with that said, we can now look at some of the aspects of where or how does Trimyar position itself within the industry. So I already highlighted it. We are both in the upmarket and the mid-market. So we have Trimyar Sheen, Trimyar Pop, and they target the upmarket and the mid-market segments. We follow a franchising model, and this is what supports our growth and brand. Next, we have a strong brand identity. Just the very fact that we operate within two markets, we have two brand strategies, we have created a strong brand identity, and we have established ourselves within the industry. We're not a new player. In terms of innovation, we have the hair technology division. So we are promoting I would say it's safe to say that we promote and we're at the forefront of innovation. Next, we offer training and support, rigorous training to apprentices and franchisees. So again, we have positioned ourselves within the industry. So why do we fit in the industry? One is because we have extensively used our franchise model to expand ourselves. We have significant number of salons. So we have a strong presence both in the mid and the upmarket. We try to foster repeat customers, and this is what will sustain our revenue. We use the franchise model to promote flexibility and scalability. And next, we strategically locate ourselves in convenient areas and areas that represent our upmarket and mid-market brands. So that's where we fit in within the industry. So now we are going to look at some of the market drivers and trends. So one of the main drivers within the industry is demand for personalization. Customers are now, or clients are now, not just wanting ordinary haircut, but they want something that's personalized to their specific needs and preferences. So they like to go to a salon where personal grooming and appearance is prioritized, where the hairdresser will take a personal interest on them and give them a haircut that will suit their features, their facial features, suit their hair type. So that expertise is something that is growing in demand, not just ordinary haircut. Now, why is this growing? This is growing because customers are now earning higher incomes, employment rates are increasing. So they are concerned about their appearance. They are concerned to look good to enhance their personal life and their overall image. So therefore, demand for personalized services is increasing, and it will continue to increase as focus is emphasized on personal appearance. Next, brand identity and customer loyalty is linked as a trend within the industry to differentiate yourself, to establish who you are. So we need to clearly establish what brand we are within and how we serve our customers. Next, as a market trend, franchising is growing. So franchising is allowing salons to expand while maintaining service quality and consistency. So in the franchise model, the emphasis is on making sure the brand is recognized and supporting franchisees to continue to grow the brand. The next market trend is innovation in hair care products. So continuous advancement of products that are hair friendly, that help promote healthy growth of hair, and also products that are not available in supermarkets. So there has to be a sense of differentiation between what you can get at a supermarket and what you can get at a salon. Then I think the fifth one is a very important aspect. That is something that we don't have extensive information given in our pre-scene, but I do see it as a very important thing: health and wellness focus. So now it's not just about giving haircuts. It's not just about doing certain treatments such as straightening the hair, perming it, curling it. But now it's also about promoting hair health. So how do you promote hair health? Maybe treatments like scalp treatments, hair vitality treatments. Now this is focusing on the customers who are concerned about not just their appearance, but the health of their hair. So that is something that we can or we should capitalize on. We should work to improve maybe our hair treatments, offer more hair treatments, offer things like massages, hair scalp massages. All these are key trends that are taking place within the industry. Next, demographic changes are also affecting the industry as there is a more aging population in many countries around the world, which Dazzlan is likely going to be no exception.
Next, let us talk about transfer pricing, a key topic when dealing with internal transactions between different divisions of a company. So this can be applicable to us if we have a situation where a product or service from one division of Trimayr is to be transferred to another division. For example, if we set up a new division to produce premium hair care products and we use the same in our salons, we will need to set a price at which the manufacturing division will sell its products to the salons. The question on transfer pricing can be on how we decide on an appropriate transfer price or on the issues that can occur in deciding a transfer price. So we'll quickly look at several available transfer pricing strategies and their pros and cons. First, we have the market-based transfer pricing strategy, where we base the price on the market price of the product or service. And this strategy is best suited when there is an active market for the goods or services that we are looking to transfer. So if there is a high demand for what we are selling internally, using the market price will make sense, ensuring fairness and competitiveness to the division that sells the product. We also have the cost-based transfer pricing strategy where we base the price on the costs of production. It's mainly useful when there is no external market price, meaning that the division producing the goods will primarily make them for internal use. This ensures that the receiving division or the buying division gets the goods at a fair cost, covering expenses but without unnecessary markups. Then we can also have a negotiated transfer price. This is a middle ground where both divisions agree on a price through negotiation. This is useful when neither a clear market price nor a cost-based price will work well. This strategy might allow flexibility, but it can also create internal conflicts between divisions. So, how can we minimize the dysfunctional behavior when using transfer pricing? So, if not managed properly, transfer pricing can lead to conflicts between divisions. For example, one division might want to maximize its own profit by charging a high transfer price, while the other division might struggle with its costs, reducing overall company efficiency. So this can lead to internal disputes, inefficiencies, and even poor overall decision making. So to minimize such dysfunctional behavior, the company as a whole must set a fair and transparent transfer pricing policy and ensure that the pricing method aligns with business goals and the market realities. So we need to encourage our divisions to work together rather than compete for internal profits. So overall, we can see that by applying the right transfer pricing approach, we will ensure a smooth internal transaction and promote fairness between divisions. So next, we have the risk and uncertainty, which is the final topic today. And this is a critical factor in business decision making, especially when launching a new product or entering a new market. To manage these risks, companies use tools like scenario planning and sensitivity analysis. Scenario planning will involve preparing for multiple possible future situations by analyzing best case, worst case, and most likely scenarios. It helps the business develop strategies for uncertain situations where we are not sure which of these outcomes might occur, but we need to plan for each of them. Then sensitivity analysis will examine how changing one variable at a time, such as maybe raw material costs, will affect the business outcomes. Scenario planning will be suited best for long-term strategic planning, while sensitivity analysis will help pinpoint specific risk factors. Another key aspect of risk management is identifying the operational and business risks associated with new initiatives. So, the operational risks include practical challenges such as the lack of expertise, maybe for a new venture that we are going to try out, maybe supply chain disruptions, technical failures, staffing issues, and also possible regulatory compliance issues. So these risks can slow down or complicate implementation of our new ventures. Business risks, on the other hand, will affect long-term success and include market uncertainty, competitive pressures, financial risks, brand reputation concerns, and economic changes. So if not managed properly, these risks can lead to financial losses or a strategic failure of the company. So in order to mitigate these risks, we need to make sure of several points. One is that we conduct thorough market research to understand the demand, and we can start a new venture by doing a pilot testing before launching a full scale of operations. We can also develop strong financial plans with backup strategies as well in case something does go wrong. We should also invest in employee training so that they can smoothly execute whatever the new ventures that we are planning. And also we can use scenario planning and sensitivity analysis to prepare for uncertainties, unexpected situations that might arise in the future. So overall, I can say that risk management will require practical thinking and strategic planning rather than a single textbook approach. So by anticipating risks and having the right strategies in place, Trimayr can reduce uncertainty and make well-informed business decisions about the future.
Now we can move on to teams. So topics about managing teams, handling conflicts between teams, making sure teams effectively perform within the company are a part of your E2 syllabus. Now your pre-scene gives a lot of information on different teams within the company. So we have, first of all, each salon has a team of staff, hairdressers, apprentice. There is a team of hairstylists in each salon. So they need to work as a cooperative team to make sure they fulfill client requests, to make sure they do their jobs. If they don't work as a team, if the inexperienced apprentice cannot lean on the more experienced hairstylist for help, guidance throughout their process, if the apprentice don't help the experienced hairstylist while the experienced hairstylist is doing his or her job on a client, this will result in underperformance of a salon. So therefore, a salon needs to work as a team. Then there is a franchise management team in the head office. So they need to work as a team in order to make sure franchises are performing well and to assist franchisees that are not doing well. Other aspects of teams, we have the hair technology team. So they need to maintain, to develop new hairstyles. So again, they need to work as a team to be able to do this. They need to innovate. So if they don't work as a team, they don't collaborate, we might not see new hairstyles, new trends being adapted by the company. Then one of the most important teams in the company from a strategic viewpoint is the board of directors. The board of directors is the best example of a team within the organization made up of both the executive but non-executive directors. So they need to work in a cooperative manner. They need to get along with each other. They need to learn to align their goals with each other and the company to help the company move forward. So therefore, working in teams is a must within the organization. So team management therefore becomes a crucial aspect. And we need to bear in mind that some of these teams might have conflicting, competing objectives. For an example, salon might have, each of them might have different objectives compared to what maybe the hair technology team has. In a salon, the staff members will be happy with what they know, but as the hair technology team develops new innovative practices, they need to adapt it. This could bring on stress to them, so their goals might be in conflict. So, bearing this in mind, your examiner could ask you questions on, number one, assuming we are thinking of creating an entirely new team, how can we establish an effective team? So, in order to establish an effective team, number one, leadership is important. So, you should focus on effective leadership. Next, a clear balance between team members. So, team members should, depending on the team members, should come from should fulfill different roles within the team. We don't need to duplicate the same roles, so they should complement each other. Effective teams, each one should know their role clearly. There shouldn't be any ambiguity. Then there should be a clear process to handle conflicts in the beginning. Each one should have goals. There should be a way of motivating each member to continue to achieve the goal of the team. Now, assuming there is a conflict, how can we resolve the conflict between team members? So in order to resolve the conflict, we can use conflict resolution techniques. Maybe the leader has to take a role in managing conflicts, try to nip it at the bud if there is a potential conflict. And of course, quickly try to handle the conflict so that we can get back to performing as a team. Next, what skills should the leader possess? So, as a leader, in order to be able to carry out the task effectively, to have a well-functioning team, the leader is the key player. The leader is the key person of interest. So therefore, based on these duties the leader should have, what are the leadership characteristics that the leader should possess? So that's about teams. Moving on, we have negotiation. Now again, negotiation is a very important topic given your current pre-scene. Number one, we need to negotiate with current and potential franchisees. So why do we need to negotiate with current franchisees? Maybe as we renew their franchise agreement, potential new in order to get them into the franchise business. We need to negotiate terms, including fees, operational requirements, brand obligations. Then we need to also negotiate supplier contracts. So for our hair care products, salon furniture, services, all of that negotiation becomes a crucial aspect within our operations. More examples given. We need to negotiate our lease agreements because in your pre-scene it's clearly mentioned that we lease our salon premises. So especially since we operate in the upmarket and the mid-market, location becomes important. Location is important. So therefore we need to be able to negotiate with them to continue maintaining the locations we already have established our salons in. At the same time, that there should be management of cost. So rent paid has to be managed. Next, renewal discussions. It goes hand in hand with our franchisees. If we want to renew every 5 years, when we have to evaluate their performance, we have to have negotiations with them. For example, if a particular franchisee principal has been doing very well, they might demand to be paying less as a result of their high performance. So there are things like that. So we need to negotiate well ahead of time. So in order to do this, the possible questions your examiner could ask you is, number one, how can we effectively negotiate for a mutually beneficial agreement? Now, mutually beneficial agreement comes in line with if this negotiation is important to us. In a sense, we really want it to happen. So then we will obviously go for a win-win, which will obviously be the case in the case of a franchisee. We would want to have a win-win. So how do we do this? So follow the steps of negotiation given. So the steps of negotiation in your answer, but you can also focus on practical considerations depending on how important the negotiation is to us. Always look at points in which why the negotiator wants to get into a contract with us. Figure out our strengths, figure out what we have to offer, at the same time figure out what they have to offer. At the end of the negotiation, it's good to get the negotiation in written form so that it can come into effect easily, and human error and all of this doesn't affect, or people don't forget the clauses of it. Get it into writing as soon as possible, but within the contract, have a general ability to offer flexibility. The first area is long-term funding. Now we see that our gearing decline, all great, but how if we need more funding? Assuming we want to invest in more salons, different areas, maybe we want to expand abroad, we need more funding. So we can either opt for debt or equity funding. So if it's equity, again, we can go for a share issue, right issue. If it's borrowings, we can go for marketable debt, bank borrowings. There are different types of bank borrowings. And in addition, we can go for government sources. So different types of long-term funding. So the possible issue is, for an example, we are trying to acquire a competitor. Your examiner likes to ask you to evaluate. So the key term here I would say is evaluate whether we should go for debt or equity. Now your answer should focus on the characteristics. The pros, the cons of both. So classical arguments you should bring out is, number one, can we even increase our debt? Do we have room for that? So comment on our gearing. Talk about our gearing. Talk about the impact of increasing debt further on our gearing, whether we can handle that. Talk about benefits of debt financing, because it does carry significant benefits, such as it's interest deductible, but it also carries cons, which are it's compulsory to pay. Talk about the benefits of equity. For an example, you can avoid paying dividends for financial difficulties, and then see which option seems the best to us. Now that is one way your examiner can test you. The next way is your examiner can ask you to talk about the differences between different sources of financing. So this is almost the same question put in a different way. So here your examiner might say, we are considering issuing a right issue or taking out a bank loan. So it's, in other words, the same thing, but here you're given specific ways. Next, what are the implications of a right issue? So sometimes your examiner will say, okay, we are going to think of a right issue. We want to issue a right issue. What would this mean for us? What would be the impact? Mainly from a financial perspective, but you can also talk about other perspectives as well, how it will affect us. So first of all, you need to understand what is a right issue. Break it down. A right issue is issuing shares to current shareholders at a discounted price. So what does that do to the total number of shares in circulation? What does that do to our market capitalization? Therefore, what will it do to our share price? That is how you can break down your answer. So you might not entirely have the picture, but break it down, understand it, develop individual points that are relevant, and elaborate on them. Next, what debt covenants could be imposed on us if we go ahead with the debt? So there are a number of covenants you can talk about, maybe dividend restrictions. There might be restrictions on how below our financial ratios can fall or where we have to keep our financial ratios at. There might be certain financial reports we need to provide to our providers of finance regularly. We might have restrictions on issuing further debt or getting further debt. So, different types of debt covenants that could restrict our operations. Next, earnings per share. So, assuming we are considering issuing a bonus share issue and assuming a right issue, what's the features of a bonus issue, the impact of it, and impact of a right issue. So again, back to the basics, understand what is a bonus issue, what is a right issue, and then you can talk about the impact better.
By now, you've probably figured out that we provide specialized preparation courses for CIMA Management Case Study. These are led by experienced tutors who focus exclusively on case study exams, so you're in safe hands. I know that preparing for MCS can feel overwhelming. There's a lot to cover, a lot to write, and it's hard to know where to start. But here's the good news. You don't have to do it alone. We've developed a range of tailored packages designed to guide you step by step, so whether you're starting early or playing catch-up, there's an option that fits your needs. Let's start with the Essential package. This is perfect if you're looking for a strong, affordable foundation. You'll get our pre-scene analysis set, theory revision materials, and 3 full mock exams along with 15 writing tasks to practice specific skills. It's a great option if you want to go at your own pace and start building your confidence without too much pressure. Next up is the Advanced package, which adds up an extra layer of support. You'll get everything from the Essential package, plus 2 extra mocks, so you have 5 in total, and 1 mock marking service by our tutors. And also from this level onward, we also include our key issues video, which pinpoints the most likely topics and issues and concerns that could come up based on the pre-scene. This helps you narrow your focus and feel confident that you're working on what really matters, not trying to revise everything just in case. Then we have the Master package, which is our most popular option. It includes everything from the previously mentioned packages and goes even further. You'll get 6 mocks in total, you'll get marking for 3 of them, and access to our exclusive past exam question repository. This is a treasure trove of real questions from previous sittings, categorized by topic and syllabus area. Why is it so useful? Because case study exams often repeat themes. Seeing how questions have been framed and tested before helps you understand examiner patterns and spot opportunities to pre-prepare your thinking. And finally, we have the Ultimate package. You'll get absolutely everything from the Master package, plus an extra mock. You'll get 7 mocks to practice in total, and 5 mock marking services, and 3 personal one-to-one sessions with our tutor. Those sessions are basically being done via Zoom. These sessions are your chance to get tailored feedback, ask specific questions, and build confidence with expert guidance. It's the ideal choice if you want that personal support, or maybe if this is your repeat sitting and you want to give it your all. So, no matter your budget, timeline, or confidence level, we've got you covered. All of our MCS packages follow a clear, structured path that matches the actual exam style, and everything is designed to take the pressure off and guide you to success. If you are ready to get started, just head to practicetestacademy.com/MCS and let's get your exam prep on track. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope this gave you clarity, structure, and the confidence to move forward with your MCS preparation. Remember, this exam isn't about perfection, it's about progress. You don't have to know everything, you just need to apply what you do know in a structured, professional way. And we're here to help you build those skills step by step. Whichever package you choose, know that you are not doing this alone. We've got expert tutors, proven materials, and a clear plan to follow. So trust the process, stay consistent, and believe in your ability to pass. You've got this, and we are here with you all the way. Now, let's take the next step. Let's get you MCS ready. Thank you for watching and good luck!